Thank you for joining us around the couch, a podcast by Kidney Couch. I'm Alec, sitting in for Jeff Callis, founder of Kidney Couch. This episode is about the emotions that people face when given the news by their doctor that they have cancer and how to deal with it going forward. In addition to thoughts in general, Jeff shares his personal experience about the emotional side of his journey since he was diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma, kidney cancer. It's news a person never wants to hear. It's supposed to happen to someone else, not you. Dealing with cancer involves a wide range of emotions, including shock, sadness, anger, anxiety, and can be overwhelming at times. These are common responses to the diagnosis and treatment that may follow. These feelings can shift over time and may be accompanied by challenges like body image changes, cognitive difficulties, and feelings of loneliness. Coping strategies include acknowledging your feelings, seeking support from your healthcare team, connecting with loved ones, practicing stress-reducing activities, and finding ways to share your emotions and learn from others, such as virtual or in-person support groups. Two organizations that have helped me, and continue to do so, are the Kidney Cancer Association and Imerman Angels. When I was diagnosed with kidney cancer, I researched online for any support groups that I could connect with. I wanted to talk to others who had been diagnosed with kidney cancer, to ask questions, get answers, and connect with people who knew firsthand what I was going through. How have they coped? Are there answers to my questions that only they can provide? I searched for a kidney cancer support group in my local community, but quickly found there was none. My next best option was to find a virtual group. I soon found two kidney cancer groups, one being the Kidney Cancer Information and Support Community. This Facebook group is provided by the Kidney Cancer Association, a fantastic organization whose mission is to bring awareness to kidney cancer and fund groundbreaking research to find a cure for kidney cancer. They have many resources available on their website, kidneycancer.org, that provide support and education about kidney cancer. Another organization that is worth reaching out to is Imerman Angels. Imerman Angels matches cancer patients looking for a one-on-one connection with a mentor angel who shares a similar diagnosis, age group, and circumstances. Having this one-on-one connection is something I wish I was aware of when I was first diagnosed with kidney cancer. It was the one missing piece that I wanted to have. A connection with someone who I could relate to on a personal level, helping me walk through the emotional side of what I was dealing with. I've since signed up to be a mentor angel to help future kidney cancer patients by being available for emotional support. In addition to cancer patients themselves, Imerman Angels provides caregiver angels to individuals who deliver care to people going through cancer. Providing care to patients with cancer can take an emotional toll. Having a caregiver who knows what you are going through is a valuable connection to make. To learn more, go to imermanangels.org. A few months after my nephrectomy, I was listening to one of my favorite radio stations. In addition to playing only Christian music, they share insights and positive stories of faith. I was struck by this story from Deborah Noble. I read it from time to time to keep me grounded. There was once a small village which was suffering from a severe drought. The crops were dying and the villagers and their animals had very little water to drink. One day, to try to find a solution to the drought, the village priest called the villagers to gather at the village square to pray together for rain. He told them to bring along a token of their faith, so the prayer would be done in sincere faith. And so the villagers gathered at the square, bringing with them tokens of their faith. Some brought the Holy Bible, while others carried small crosses. They all prayed aloud with great faith and hope. Sure enough, within a few minutes it began to rain. The whole crowd was overjoyed and danced happily. The priest noticed that among the joyous crowd was a 9-year-old boy, clutching an umbrella as a token of faith. The priest admired this little boy, who had brought an umbrella in total faith that God would surely hear his prayers and send rain. That's faith. That's faith you need when dealing with cancer. This story reminded me of what it's like when seeing the world through a child's eyes. They hear and see things differently and in a way that adults often take for granted or walk past and don't even notice. I must admit, I wasn't carrying an umbrella as I dealt with cancer. This story gave me a new perspective. That being said, I've often wondered why God let this happen to me. Why me? There's no answer to that question. Maybe someday. 3 months after my nephrectomy, I was shaving. I looked in the mirror and thought to myself, I want to see my kids grow up. It finally hit me. I had cancer. It took me just over 3 months for reality to come crashing down on me. I had thrown myself into digging into the details of what I was up against, and by doing so, I hadn't allowed time to just stop and really think about what had happened and what would come next. It's not that I didn't think about the fact I had cancer. How can you not? It's there all the time. The reality hit me that there's a 25 to 50% chance the cancer will return somewhere in my body within 5 years. That realization came crashing down on me. If kidney cancer does show up somewhere else, the life expectancy is about 13 months. I sobbed uncontrollably. Searching for Cindy, I buried my head on her shoulder. This is not how my life was supposed to be. I thought a lot about how alone I felt, how I got here. I had the best support system one could ask for, but I still felt alone. It was an odd feeling. I have experienced a range of emotions in dealing with cancer during this roller coaster ride. If dealing with cancer wasn't a full plate on its own, chronic kidney disease complicated both my health and emotional well-being. Let's talk more about the emotions that come with dealing with cancer. Emotions in Cancer, a publication by the National Cancer Institute, contains some good insights into dealing with the soft side of cancer. Just as cancer affects your physical health, it can bring up a wide range of emotions you're not used to dealing with. It can make existing feelings seem more intense. These feelings may change daily, hourly, or even minute to minute. This is true whether you're currently in treatment or done with treatment. These feelings are all normal. Often the values you grew up with affect how you think about and cope with cancer. For example, some people feel they must be strong and protect their friends and families. Seek support and turn to loved ones or other cancer survivors. Ask for help from counselors or other professionals. Turn to their faith to help them cope. Whatever you decide, it's important to do what's right for you and not to compare yourself with others. Your friends and family members may share some of the same feelings. If you feel comfortable, share this information with them. Talking about it can help. I can certainly relate to all of these feelings. I had them all. They are all good steps to take and help you cope. In my experience, at first, dealing with cancer was a roller coaster ride that I wanted to get off, but I was strapped into my seat until the ride stopped. Except it never did. No matter what I was doing, I thought about my cancer. The good news is, the thoughts became less frequent. The ride did eventually stop, and I got off, taking one step at a time. I wasn't going to let cancer consume my life or define me. I still think about it, but doesn't dominate my thoughts like it did at first. Time does seem to heal most wounds. It was common for me to hear, "You've got a lot on your mind." I had one thing on my mind. You can take a walk to think about something else, but you trip over cancer thoughts along the way. You can watch your favorite show, Frasier reruns that never get old, only to have a commercial about cancer interrupt the side-splitting comments. It's almost worse than cancer itself. But like I said, I don't think about cancer every step of the way now. Feeling overwhelmed. A few more thoughts from the Emotions from Cancer publication. When you first learn that you have cancer, it's normal to feel as if your life is out of control. This could be because you wonder if you're going to live. Your normal routine is disrupted by doctor visits and treatments. People use medical terms that you don't understand. You feel like you can't do the things you enjoy. You feel helpless and lonely. Even if you feel out of control, there are ways you can take charge. It may help you to learn as much as you can about your cancer. The more you know, the more in control you'll feel. Ask your doctor questions and don't be afraid to let them know when you don't understand. I can relate to this. The more I understand what I am dealing with, the more relaxed I feel. It's not a control issue for me. It's having a true, realistic understanding of what I'm up against. For better or worse, the more I know about it, the better I feel. I'm less anxious. For some people, it feels better to focus on things other than cancer. If you have the desire, try taking part in things you enjoy, such as music, outdoor activities, reading, or learning something new. 8 months after my nephrectomy, I started to notice some emotional changes in myself. For many years, my ability to cry was hard. After my dad took his life, 45 years ago, I found it difficult to cry. Nothing has compared to that emotionally. When someone finishes the race at 85 miles an hour, that's a celebration. That's being in the race to the finish line. Not that everyone who lives a long life didn't have a few detours or leg cramps along the way. I noticed my emotional shift when I was writing a thank you email to family and friends who donated to the Callus Team fundraising for the Rochester, Minnesota Out of Darkness Walk for Suicide Prevention. After I finished typing the sentence in the email, it was a proud moment for me and my family to remember our loved ones who took their life because they saw no hope in going on. I had a good cry. I was telling a story to friends soon after that event, the words Pastor Broughton shared at our wedding. It was a mix of Lutherans and Catholics. Knowing that some or all the Catholics may not participate because communion was taking place in a Lutheran church, he said, "All are welcome. The table is the Lord's, and it's at his invitation that we come." Pastor Broughton gave this invitation in our church for years prior to serving communion. But to hear him say it to 150 people at our wedding, half of which were Catholic, was different. Cindy and I served the bread and wine, and Pastor Broughton followed behind us and took the individual cups from those who had received the wine. It was a combination of Pastor Broughton's invitation to all and Cindy and me serving the communion that resulted in all but a few people participating. I had told that story several times before that. Never once did I get choked up. I couldn't finish the sentence. Perhaps the reality of what might be in store for me was making me more emotional. Maybe it was sinking in, more in the front of my mind now than in the back. Was I becoming more emotional, or was I depressed? When I thought about it more, I admitted to myself that other things had made me cry recently that usually didn't have that impact on me. Listening to the high school band play the fight song at a football game made me choke up, fighting back tears. A Christian song on the radio had the same effect on me. That wasn't normal for me. More from the Emotions from Cancer publication. It's very normal to ask, "Why me?" and be angry at the cancer. You may also feel anger or resentment towards your healthcare providers, your healthy friends, and your loved ones. And if you're religious, you may even feel angry with God. Anger often comes from feelings that are hard to show. Common examples are fear, panic, frustration, anxiety, helplessness. If you feel angry, you don't have to pretend that everything is okay. It's not healthy to keep it bottled up. Sometimes anger can be helpful in the short term. It may motivate you to take action. But having constant anger or resentment won't feel good to you or the people around you. Talk with your family and friends about your anger, or ask your doctor to refer you to a counselor. Often the values you grew up with affect how you think about and cope with cancer. For example, some people feel they have to be strong and protect their friends and families. Seek support and turn to loved ones or other cancer survivors. Ask for help from counselors or other professionals. Turn to their faith to help them cope. Whatever you decide, it's important to do what's right for you and not to compare yourself with others. As the National Cancer Institute tells us, some doctors think that hope may help your body deal with cancer. So, scientists are studying whether a hopeful outlook and positive attitude help people feel better. These are some ways you can build your sense of hope. Plan your days as you've always done. Don't limit the things you like to do just because you have cancer. Look for reasons to have hope. If it helps, write them down or talk to others about them. Spend time in nature. Reflect on your religious or spiritual beliefs. Listen to stories about people with cancer who are leading active lives. I agree that looking at things positively gives you a better shot at accomplishing something. I'm not so sure it has as strong an impact as some may think, but it's certainly better to look at a glass as being half full versus half empty. I've known people in my life that look at the negative in everything, likely from the moment they cracked open an eyelid in the morning to closing that same eyelid at night. For these people, it could be a beautiful, sunny day, and they would respond with, "Yes, but there is a wisp of a cloud in the sky over there." That's a tough way to go through life. Fighting cancer with that attitude doesn't increase your odds of beating it. That's a safe bet. Guilt. If you feel guilty, know that many people with cancer feel this way. Sometimes people blame themselves for upsetting the people they love, thinking that they're a burden in some way, having to spend money on the costs of cancer care, feeling envy of other people's good health, and being ashamed of this feeling, making lifestyle choices that they think could have led to cancer. In my experience, I haven't felt guilt. I didn't ask for this. How can you upset the people you love by getting a diagnosis of cancer? I haven't been any more of a burden now than I was before the cancer diagnosis. Sure, the cost of cancer treatment isn't free. I don't expect a discount or a refund if things don't go as planned either. I don't envy someone else's good health. They didn't cause my cancer. I don't think I've led a life with poor lifestyle choices that caused me to have cancer. It's not like I was a chain smoker and got lung cancer. I don't have a clue how or why I got kidney cancer, and apparently neither does anyone else. This comment from Becky says it well. When I start to feel guilty that I caused my illness, I think of how little kids get cancer. That makes me realize that cancer can just happen. It isn't my fault. No one knows why some people get cancer while others don't. It may help you to share your feelings with someone. Let your doctor know if you would like to talk with a counselor or go to a support group. A recent online survey by the University of Glasgow of people with kidney cancer identified many issues they are dealing with, including the psychological burden of uncertainty, distress, and fear of recurrence. Physical challenges like fatigue and side effects from treatments are top concerns as well. Patients also face communication difficulties with providers, information overload from the internet, and social isolation, particularly for younger or advanced stage patients. I was very interested in digging deeper into the publication in June 2025 by Dr. Grigorios Kotronoulas from the University of Glasgow in the United Kingdom and others involved in the study. It is titled Well-Being Status and Priority Concerns of Patients with Advanced Renal Cell Carcinoma. Although the survey included a small sample size, 105 participants, the results were interesting. The typical participant was male, on targeted therapy, middle-aged, median 42 years, with a median of 54 months since diagnosis. The top concerns or problems that the participants described were 1. Being unable to work, 46%. 2. Worrying their condition will get worse, 45%. 3. Worrying about psychological support for family, 44%. 4. Urinating more frequently than usual, 43%. These were viewed as major problems for over 40% of the people who responded to the survey. I was surprised by how many participants felt this way. Concerns about feeling helpless, too weak to function, and getting tired easily were all rated a major problem for 39% of the respondents. Side effects of treatment, trouble doing strenuous activities, getting annoyed easily, having pain in their joints, and feeling lonely were viewed as major problems by 37% of those who responded. Emotional ups and downs, having trouble recalling words, having trouble remembering things, feeling fatigued, feeling nervous, and having trouble concentrating were also viewed as a major problem by at least 35% of those who completed the survey. I can relate to every one of these symptoms. My physician told me that my cancer was growing anywhere from 4 to 15 years when it was discovered on a CT scan. As I look back on that time frame, the fatigue, memory issues, and being easily annoyed were very real. I think you can experience these symptoms while you have cancerous tumor growing in your kidney, or elsewhere too, as well as after the tumor is removed. It seems odd that that would be the case though. Once the cancer has been removed, you might expect the symptoms associated with it to be removed as well. That doesn't seem to be the case for many, including me, still there, only on a smaller scale. It's not surprising that for a person who is running out of treatment options, cancer recurs, they have declining health, or are dying from kidney cancer, that it would be viewed as a major problem. Those are worst-case scenarios in my opinion. I have been blessed so far that all I have needed was a radical nephrectomy and no follow-up immunotherapy. For others, surgery is just part of a longer journey. Kidney cancer is one of few cancers where you can have a partial or complete removal of the organ that contains the mass, and that is the only treatment that is needed. That's if the cancer is confined to the kidney. Many cancers are followed up with chemotherapy and/or radiation to destroy any remaining microcells of the cancer. For kidney cancer, chemotherapy and radiation are not effective in treating cancer in the kidney itself. If the cancer metastasizes beyond the kidney, such as in your lungs, radiation may be used. The survey also found that the older a person was, the higher the well-being scores. That makes sense to me. At age 64, I imagine I am less anxious than someone who is in the 45-year age bracket and has a longer expected life ahead of them than if they didn't have cancer. Here are some ideas on ways to cope with your emotions, recommended by experts in the field such as the National Cancer Institute and the American Cancer Society. Acknowledge your feelings. It's normal for emotions to change and evolve, so allow yourself to feel them without judgment. Talk to your healthcare team. They can provide guidance and connect you with resources to help manage emotional challenges. Seek support. Connect with family, friends, or join a support group to share your experiences and hear from others who understand. Practice self-care. Engage in activities that reduce stress and boost your mood, such as physical activity, meditation, or creative outlets like art or music. Focus on what you can control. Break down large tasks into smaller, manageable steps and focus on what you can do one day at a time. Be open and honest with your partner. If concerns about intimacy or body image are impacting your relationship, open communication is key. Find ways to express yourself. Consider writing, journaling, or other forms of creative expression to process your feelings. You may even want to create a podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm Alec, sitting in for Jeff Callis from Kidney Couch. Join us next time around the couch.